Hey guys, welcome to Intellipaat. So as we all know that Java is one of the most popular programming languages today. So naturally, there's a huge demand for Java developers in the IT industry. Keeping that in mind, we have come up with this video on top Java interview questions to help you clear your next Java interview. But before we move forward, do subscribe to Intellipaat's YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on our next videos. So now, without any further delays, let's get started.
First and foremost, the basic question which comes to everyone's mind is, what exactly is Java? Java is a general-purpose programming language which is object-oriented, class-based and concurrent, which is mainly designed to have a fewer implementation dependencies as possible. Java, which was called as an oak earlier, which was still being developed, the name oak was used by Gosling after an oak tree that stood outside his office. And basically, it is one of the object-oriented programming language, meaning that it is based on objects that work together to make the programs do their jobs easier. Java is all around us, and the Java code looks like C, C++ or C#, but the code written in those languages will not work in Java in most cases without being changed, right? Now we will get into the next question. What are classes and objects in Java? Classes and objects are basic concepts of object-oriented programming language which revolve around the real-world entities. A class is a user-defined blueprint or a prototype from which the objects are created. In simple words, a class is like an object constructor or a blueprint for creating objects. Class has several variables and methods. For now, we will consider the example of dog, where the dog is considered as an object and the variables are nothing but data members such as breed, size, age, color, etc. Methods are eat, sleep, sit, run and many more. This is all about class. Now we will see what are objects. An object is a self-contained component which consists of state or attributes and behavior or method. In simple words, we can say that object is a real-world entity which has both state and behavior, and it's an instance of a class. For example, we will take pen, which is an object. Its name is Reynolds. Color is white, known as its state, and it is used to write, so writing is its behavior. Let's jump on to the next interesting question which has been asked in every interviews. That is, list the top 10 features of Java. We will see to it one by one. Java is easy to learn, where it can be learnt in a short span of time because it uses English-like syntax and it is concurrent. Java is an open source software where it doesn't require you to pay a penny to write the codes for your applications in Java. Since everyone loves to build the software for free, Java provides it. Java finds its use in real-world applications. So guys, let us discuss some of the technologies that makes use of Java in the real world. Java is used in Android applications, web applications, e-commerce, server applications, scientific technologies, and in many frameworks. Opportunity with high salary. Nowadays, most of them are hunting for the Java professionals. Java programmers are highly in demand and one can earn good salaries in MNCs. It's an object-oriented programming language. Everyone knows it is impossible to write a program without object and class. The concepts of Java are relatable and much easier. This property makes Java a flexible, system modular, and extensible programming language. Java has powerful development tools. Take Java to the peak level. It also offers a high level of debugging assistance to the programmers and makes the coding easier. REPL, that is read eval print loop, and the JShell scripting is making a Java coding very easy where the programmers can write it in a single go. Java has rich APIs, which made Java a successful language. It doesn't have any compatibility issues and it handles wide set of procedures and functions. Also, it provides Java for input-output networking and database connections, that is JDBC. Moving on to the next feature, that is Java is present everywhere. Yes, of course, Java is omnipresent. It is not limited to a single domain, be it desktop applications, mobile applications, web applications, and many more. Moreover, it's also used in banking, retail, and all will use in one or the other way. So, it's not going out to the market anytime soon. Java is portable and versatile. It's an open source and platform independent where the Java supports the famous tagline that is Aura, that is write once and run anywhere. It helps in dynamic coding and it's highly secured. Java has tons of resources and community support. It is one of the mature programming language that requires lots of resources which are available online, and there are also free and paid online courses. On multiple online forums like Stack Overflow, Quora, Reddit, etc., it will help them to clarify the doubts which results in the growth of community itself. Now we will jump on to our next question. What do you mean by JDK, JRE and JVM? Explain with any one difference. JDK is a software development environment used for developing Java applications and applets. It includes the Java runtime environment, that is JRE, an interpreter or a loader, that is Java, a compiler, that is Java-C, an archiver, jar, a documentation generator, that is Java doc, and other tools needed in Java development. Java Development Kit, in short JDK, is a kit which provides the environment to develop and execute the program. JDK is like a kit or a package which includes two things. One is the development tools, that is to provide an environment to develop your Java program, and one more is JRE to execute your Java program. JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment and may also be written as Java RTE. The Java Runtime Environment provides the minimum requirements for executing a Java application. It consists of a Java virtual machine, core classes, and supporting files. JRE, that is a Java Runtime Environment, is an installation package which provides environment to only run the Java program on your machine. JRE is only used by them who only wants to run the Java programs, that is end users of your system. Coming to Java Virtual Machine, it will convert the bytecode to machine-specific code. It is platform dependent and provides core Java functions like garbage collection, security, memory management, and so on. It's known as virtual because it provides an interface that doesn't depend on machine hardware and other operating systems. That is why it makes Java program write once and run anywhere. Java Virtual Machine, that is JVM, is a very important part of both JDK and JRE because it is contained or inbuilt in both. Whatever Java program you run using JRE or JDK goes into JVM, and JVM is responsible for executing the Java program line by line. Hence, it is also known as interpreter. Coming to the differences, that is JDK versus JRE and JVM, that is JRE and JDK both contain JVM which helps to run the Java program. JVM provides the platform independence. It's also known as the heart for the Java programming language. JRE is used for running the Java programs, whereas JDK provides the development tools which are required to run the Java application. Now we will see the next question, that is why Java is platform independent. Explain how the garbage collection takes place in Java. When we compile the Java program using Java-C, that is Java compiler converts the source code into the bytecode, that is the .class file, and these codes are readable by Java Virtual Machine, and each operating system has its own JVM. JVM is a platform dependent, but because of it, as it provides an interface that doesn't depend on machine hardware and other operating system. Java program is write once and run anywhere. In Java, what happens is that when an object is not referenced anymore, garbage collection takes place and an object is destroyed automatically. For automatic garbage collection, Java calls either system.gc method or runtime.gc method. During garbage collection, the memory used by the object is automatically written or drawn back once all the references to an object are gone. Our next question is, explain why Java is not 100% object-oriented programming language and how it enables high performance. Java is not completely an object-oriented as it supports the primitive data types such as long, byte, int and so on, which are not objects. In Java, we use the data types such as float, double, byte, int and so on, which are clearly not object-oriented. Therefore, Java is not considered as 100% object-oriented. Coming to the performance, Java uses just-in-time compiler, that is JIT, to enable the high performance. JIT is used to convert the instructions into the bytecodes. Coming to our next question, that is, what gives Java its write once and run anywhere nature? The bytecode, that is, the Java compiler, converts the Java programs into a class file, that is bytecode, which is the intermediate language between source code and the machine code. This bytecode is not platform specific and can be executed on any computer. For example, it can be written in Windows machine and it can run on Linux machine. Explain the basic structure of Java with an example. Structure of a Java program is the standard format released by language developer to the industry programmer. Sun Microsystems have suggested a structure for the Java programming language for developing the Java applications. Here is an example. The first line says about the package details. A package is nothing but a collection of classes, interfaces, and subpackages. A package is imported by default and this package is known as default package. Coming to the next line, that is class hello, that is nothing but class followed by class name. A class is a keyword used for developing the user-defined data type and every Java program must start with a concept of class. Coming to the class name is nothing but it will represent a Java valid variable name treated as a name of a class and it is case sensitive. Coming to the data members, that is int a, b, where it represents either the instance or static and they will be selected based on the name of the class. Next is the void display, says the user defined method. It represents either instance or static. They are meant for performing the operations either once or each and every time. Coming to public static void main, that is the main method is known as a program driver. It is not returning any value and hence its return type must be void. It executes only once throughout the Java program execution and hence its nature must be static. Main method must be accessed by every Java programmer and hence whose access specifier must be public. Coming to the block of statements, that is system.out.println, where we print the statements. Block of statements represents set of executable statements which are in term calling user-defined methods are containing business logic. Moving on to our next question, that is, what are the advantages of packages in Java? There are various advantages of defining packages in Java. Packages helps in avoiding the name clashes. The package also provides easier access control. We can also have the hidden classes that are not visible outside and it can be used by the package. It is easier to locate the related classes. Now we will see the difference between equal to and dot equals method in Java with an example. The main difference between both of them is that dot equals is a method whereas equal to is an operator. The dot equals method is used for content comparison and equal to is used for address comparison. Here is an example. We will see how we can execute this in an Eclipse IDE. First, we will create a public class test. Next, we will write the main method, that is public static void main string of args. Next, we will create two string objects, namely S1 and S2. Now, we will print both of these statements. First, we will use equal to operator. In the next line, we will print with a dot equals method. Now, we will see the output. Run as Java application. Now, the output comes as, for the first print statement, it is showing false, and for the second thing, it is showing as true. In the above example, we are creating two objects, namely S1 and S2. Both S1 and S2 refers to different objects. When we use equal to operator as shown in this line, it is for comparison, then the result is false, as both of them have different addresses in memory. Coming to this thing, that is dot equals method, the result is true. Why? Because it's only comparing the values given in S1 and S2. Now our next question is about OOPS concepts. We will see this one by one with an example. OOPS concepts include inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism and encapsulation. We will see this one by one with an example. The first concept is inheritance, means that one class can extend to another class so that the codes can be reused from one class to another class. Existing class is known as superclass, whereas the derived class is known as subclass. For example, assume that to inherit a class, we use the extends keyword. Here, class XYZ is a child class and class ABC is a parent class. The class XYZ is inheriting the properties and methods of ABC class, which is represented as class XYZ extends ABC. Coming to our next concept, that is encapsulation. That means binding of data and code together to protect the data from the outside world. It helps in hiding the details of how an object does something. Assume that it's just an inner layout used in terms of implementation. For example, we will consider the mobile phone, where the inner details of how the keypad button and the display screen are connected with each other using circuits. Next concept is abstraction, where it is used for hiding the unwanted data and giving the relevant data. It helps you focus on what the object does instead of how it does it. Assume that it is an outer layout used in terms of design. For example, again we will consider the mobile phone, where it has a display screen and keypad button to dial a number. Coming to our last concept, that is polymorphism. Polymorphism nothing but many forms. A single object can refer the superclass or a subclass depending on the reference type, which is called polymorphism. It is nothing but a single action performing in different ways. Polymorphism can be performed by method overloading or method overriding. Any object that verifies more than one is a relationship, then the object is said to be polymorphic in nature. For example, let us consider a class animal and let cat be a subclass of animal. So, any cat is animal. Here, cat satisfies the is a relationship for its own type as well as its superclass animal. What is the differences between method overloading and method overriding in Java? Explain with an example. First, we will see the overloading method. Overloading occurs when two or more methods in one class have the same method name but different parameters. It follows compile time polymorphism. Now we will see the example. Here we have created a class name as dog with a method called bark and we have printed it as hoof. Coming to the overloading method, it will come with the for loop. Again, we will print it as O. In this overloading example, the toBark method can be invoked by using different parameters. Compiler know they are different because they have different method signature, that is nothing but method name and the method parameter list. Because in the first method, that is public void bark, there is an empty parameter. In the second method with the same name, that is public void bark, it is with the int num. So it is nothing but having different method signature. Coming to our next concept, that is overriding. Overriding means having two methods with the same method name and parameters, that is method signature. One of the method is present in the parent class and other is in child class. Overriding allows a child class to provide a specific implementation of a method that is already provided by its parent class. It follows runtime polymorphism. Here is an example. Here we have created a class called dog and we have extended using that hoon. And the program continues as follows. What happens in the above example is that the dog variable is declared to be dog. During compile time, the compiler checks if the dog class has the bark method. As long as the dog class has the bark method, the code compiles. At runtime, a hoon is created and assigned to dog. The Java Virtual Machine, that is the JVM, knows that dog is referring to the object hoon. So, it calls the bark method of hoon. This is called as dynamic polymorphism. Now we will see our next question, that is difference between string, string builder and string buffer with an example. String variables are stored in a constant string pool. Once the string references changes the old value that exists in the constant string pool, it cannot be erased. Now we will see the example where in a constant string pool we have assigned the string name, object and the value assigned to the string as book. That is string object equal to book. Assume that the name has changed from book to pen. Now what happens? That is, the older value remains in the pool whereas it has been replaced by the pen. Now we will see what is string buffer. Here string values are stored in stack. If the values are changed, then the new value replaces the older value. The string buffer is synchronized, which is thread safe, and the performance is slower than the string builder. Here we can see the stack with a name called book, that is string buffer name equal to book. Once the name value has been changed to pen, then the book is erased in the stack. This is how the string buffer works. Coming to the string builder, that is, this is same as string buffer except for the string builder which is not threaded safety, means that it is not synchronized. So obviously performance is fast compared to the string buffer. Now we will see our next question, that is explain about public and private access specifiers. Everyone knows methods and instances variables are members. Public members are visible in the same package as well as outside package, that is for other packages. Here you can see the public members of class A is visible to class B, that is within the same package, as well as it is visible to the class C which is in different package. Now we will see what exactly is private access specifier. Private members are visible in the same class only and not for the other classes in the same package as well as classes in the outside packages. We will see this with an example. Here you can notice private members in class A is visible only in that class. It is invisible for class B as well as class C. Now our next question is, what is the difference between abstract class and an interface? Coming to the abstract class, which has a default constructor and it is called whenever the concrete class is instantiated. Whereas interface doesn't have any constructor and it can't be instantiated. Abstract class consists of abstract methods as well as non-abstract methods, whereas in interface abstract method should alone be declared. Coming to our next difference, that is the class which extends the abstract class shouldn't require implementing all the methods. Only abstract methods need to be implemented, whereas classes which implement the interface should provide the implementation for all of the methods. Last but not the least difference, that is, abstract class contains instance variables, whereas interface consists of only constants. Now, our next question is that what is meant by collections in Java? And we will list some of the operations that are performed by collections in Java. Collections are nothing but a group of objects is known as collections. Collection is a framework that is designed to store the objects and manipulate the design to store the objects. Collections are used to perform the following operations such as searching, sorting, manipulation, insertion, deletion, and many more. All the classes and interfaces for collecting are available in the Java util package. Coming to our next question, that is, what is the output of the following program? Here, I have created a class name test. Inside the main method, I have printed three statements. The first statement, that is 10 plus 20 plus Java tPoint. What happens in the first case is that 10 and 20 are treated as numbers and added to be 30. Now, their sum 30 is treated as a string and concatenated with a string Java tPoint. Therefore, the output will be 30 Java tPoint. Coming to our next print statement, that is Java tPoint plus 10 plus 20. What happens in the second case is that the string Java tPoint is concatenated with 10 to be the string Java tPoint 10, which will then be concatenated with 20 to be Java tPoint 1020. Same thing happens in the third case. That is, but here the case is multiplication, where the numbers 10 and 20 will be multiplied first and then the result 200 is treated as a string and concatenated with a string Java tPoint to produce the output 200 Java tPoint. Now our next question is, what exactly is multi-threading? What are the two ways of implementing multi-threading in Java? Multi-threading is a programming concept to run the multiple tasks in a concurrent manner. Within a single program, threads share the same process stack and running in parallel. It helps in performance improvement of any program. Runnable interface is used in Java for implementing the multi-threaded applications. Java.lang.runnable interface is implemented by a class to support the multi-threading. Multi-threaded applications can be developed in Java in any of the two methodologies. Following are, by using the java.lang.runnable interface, classes implement this interface to enable the multi-threading. There is a run method in this interface which is implemented, and also it can be developed in Java by writing a class that extends java.lang.thread class. Now our next question is, what is thread, and explain the states of thread along with how do you implement thread in Java. A thread helps, facilitates multitasking and multiprocessing within a program. It utilizes CPU effectively and helps improve the performance of the application. Java enables the user to use the multiple threads at a time. It can be run in parallel with other programs without any interruptions. This helps in reducing a time for the process. For example, assume that if a program takes 60 seconds to execute, we can use 6 threads, which will give us the result in 10 seconds. A thread in Java can be in either of the following state: ready, running, waiting, and then dead. First, coming to the ready state, when a thread is created, it is in ready state. Running, a thread currently being executed in the running state. A thread waiting for the another thread to free the certain resources is in waiting state. Last but not the least, that is the dead state. Here, the thread which has gone dead after the execution is in the dead state. Java provides two ways to implement thread in a program. Interface java.lang.runnable has an instance java.lang, a thread which requires a task to execute through an instance. The thread class already implements runnable. So, a user can directly override run method by extending the thread class or by implementing the runnable interface. Now we will see a small program for an increment and a decrement operators. Here we have created a class name operator and inside main we have declared int a equal to 4. In the first print statement, that is x plus plus, what happens in the first case is that here plus plus is nothing but the postfix operator which is used in which in turn returns the value first and then it increments. Hence its output will remain as 4 itself. Coming to the second print statement, that is plus plus followed by x. But this is not the case in the second print statement where plus plus operator is in priority and it is prefix. So it increments first and then it returns the value as 5. What happens in the third print statement? Here minus minus represents the decrement operator. In the third case, postfix, that is minus minus operator, is used in which it returns the value first and then decrements. Hence, its output will be remain as 4 itself. But in the last case, what happens is that minus minus operator is in priority and it's a prefix. So it decrements first and then it returns the value 3 as you can see in the program. What is constructor and how many types of constructors are used in Java? The constructor can be defined as a special type of method that is used to initialize the state of an object. It is invoked when the class is instantiated and the memory is allocated for the object. Every time an object is created using the new keyword, the default constructor of the class is called. The name of the constructor must be similar to the class name and also the constructor must not have an explicit written type. Based on the parameters passed in the constructors, there are mainly two types of constructors in Java. One is the default constructor and one more is the parameterized constructor. Coming to the default constructor, it is one which does not accept any value. The default constructor is mainly used to initialize the instance variable with the default values. It can also be used for performing some useful task on object creation. A default constructor is invoked implicitly by the compiler if there is no constructor defined in the class. Coming to the parameterized constructor, it is the one which can initialize the instance variables with the given values. In other words, we can say that the constructors which can accept the arguments are called parameterized constructors. Coming to our next question, that is, what are the differences between constructor and method in Java? A constructor is used to initialize the state of an object, whereas method is used to expose the behavior of an object. A constructor must not have any written type, whereas the method must have a written type. The constructor here is invoked implicitly, whereas the method is invoked explicitly. The Java compiler provides a default constructor if you don't have any constructor in the class, but in case of method, it is not provided by the compiler in any case. The constructor name must be same as the class name, whereas the method name may or may not be same as the class name. What is exception in Java? Explain with an exception handling keywords. Exception is an error event that can happen during the execution of a program and disrupts its normal flow. Exception can arise from a different kind of situation such as wrong data entered by the user, hardware failure, network connection failure, and many more. Whenever any error occurs, Java Runtime Environment, that is JRE, tries to handle it. Java Exception Handling Framework is used to handle the runtime errors only. Compile time errors are not handled by Exception Handling Framework. Here, there are mainly 4 keywords used in exception handling. They are throws. Coming to the throw, sometimes we explicitly want to create the exception object and then throw it to halt the normal processing of the program. Throw keyword is used to throw the exception to the runtime to handle it. Next is throws. When we are throwing any checked exception in a method and not handling it, then we need to use the throws keyword in method signature to let the caller program know the exceptions that might be thrown by the method. The caller method might handle these exceptions or propagate it to its caller method using throws keyword. We can provide multiple exceptions in the throws class and it can be used with main method also. Our next keyword is try-catch. We use try-catch block for exception handling in our code. Try is the start of a block and catch is at the end of try block. to handle the exceptions. We can have multiple catch blocks with a try and try-catch block can be nested also. Catch block requires a parameter that should be of type exception. Our last but not the least, that is finally keyword. Finally block is optional and can be used only with try-catch block. Since exception halts the process of execution, we might have some resources open that will not get closed. So we can use finally block. Finally block gets executed always whether exception occurs or not. Coming to our next question, that is how many types of exception can occur in a Java program? There are basically two types of exceptions, that is checked and unchecked. Here, an error is considered as an unchecked exception. But according to the Oracle, basically there are three types of exception. First one is the checked exception. Checked exceptions are the one which are checked at compile time. For example, SQL exception, class not found exception, etc. The classes that extend the throwable class except runtime exception and error are known as checked exception. Coming to the second exception, that is unchecked exception. These are the one which are handled at runtime because they cannot be checked at compile time. The classes that extend runtime exception are known as unchecked exceptions. For example, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bound exceptions, and many more. Coming to the last but not the least, that is error. Error cause the program to exit since they are not recoverable. For example, out of memory error, assertion error, etc. Now we will see some of the programs which is asked in every interviews. Here, the first program is write a simple Java program to print the Fibonacci series using both the recursion and the iteration up to a given number. First of all, Fibonacci series is a series of natural number where the next number is equivalent to the sum of the previous two numbers. Example, fn will be equal to fn minus 1 plus fn minus 2. The first two numbers of Fibonacci series is always 1, 1. In this Java program example, for Fibonacci series, we create a function to calculate the Fibonacci number and then print those numbers on Java console. Another twist in this question is that sometime interviewer asked to write a Java program for Fibonacci numbers using recursion. So it's better you to prepare for both iterative as well as recursive version of Fibonacci number. The one which you can see is the recursive function of Fibonacci series. Here, the system.out.print is printing n1 plus n2 where it is printing 1 and 1. Coming to the second thing, that is where the print Fibonacci has been called, where count minus 2 will check n minus 2 because two numbers are already printed. This is how the recursive function of Fibonacci series works. Coming to the iterative function. Now we will see the iterative function of Fibonacci series. Here we have printed the Fibonacci series. Here it will take the input from the user where it calculates based on the sum of previous two numbers. Here it is printed as int sum of previous two will be num1 plus num2 and then it is assigned the num2 to num1 and after that the sum of previous two numbers will be assigned to num2. This is how the Fibonacci series for both the recursion as well as iteration works. Now we will see the program to check whether the given number is prime or not. A prime number is a number which is divisible by only two numbers, 1 and itself. So if any number is divisible by any other number, it is not a prime number. Here is a program and the program is continued as follows. What happens here is when you run the program, the output will be 29 is a prime number. What happens in the above program is that for loop is used to determine if the given number is prime or not. We only have to loop through 2 to half of the number because no number is divisible by more than its half. Inside the for loop, we check if the number is divisible by any number in the given range, that is 2 to num by 2. If it is divisible, then the flag is set to true and we break out of the loop. This determines the number is not a prime number. If number isn't divisible by any number, flag is false and number is a prime number. This is how the program of prime number checking works. Here is a Java program to check whether the given string is palindrome or not. Enter any string as input. Now we use the for loops and the if-else conditions along with the equals ignore case method to conclude whether the enter string is a palindrome or not. Here is the source code for a Java program to check whether a string is palindrome or not. The Java program is successfully compiled and run on the system. Assume that we are entering the string input as mom. If we reverse the string also, we will get the same. This is what palindrome is. Now we will see the main program where it has been asked by many of the IT companies. That is, write a Java program to find the factorial of a number. Before going through the program, let us understand what factorial is. Factorial of a number n is denoted as n factorial and the value of n factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 up to n minus 1 into n. So let us see the program. Here what happens is that we will find the factorial of a number. Here assume that you are giving the input of 4. It now checks for the 4 factorial, that is nothing but n factorial. Here the n is 4, so it is 4 factorial. And then the output as 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 is equal to 24. So the output will be 24. What are the differences between throw and throws keyword in Java? The throw keyword is used to throw an exception explicitly, whereas the throws keyword is used to declare an exception. The checked exceptions cannot be propagated with throw only, whereas checked exception can be propagated with throws. The throw keyword is followed by an instance, whereas throws keyword is followed by class. The throw keyword is used within the method. The throws keyword is used with the method signature. You cannot throw the multiple exceptions, but in case of throws, you can declare multiple exceptions. For example, public void method throws IO exception, SQL exception. Now we will see a small program for throws keyword. Here what happens is that try is going to execute it as throw 90 and the catch, for example, it will caught the exception. Here, it supports the incompatible types where the int cannot be converted to throwable. In Java, the throwable objects can only be thrown. If we try to throw an integer object, the compiler will show an error since we cannot throw the basic data type from a block of code.
So this brings us to the end of this video. We hope you found this video informative. If you have any queries, do leave a comment and we will get back to you immediately. Thank you for watching.